weed, I've got a vodka lemonade. We show the cool kids how to be the youth of today. We jump the fence and play in Mr. Grogan's pool. Hit call the police and we hide behind the school. We spend hours throwing stones into the sea. They were the best days of my life, I promise thee. Oh, I could be a saint while you would be the sinner. My mother used to frown when I'd invite you home for dinner. Oh, my darling, how I miss you to the day. I'd give my everything to see your face again. Oh, I'm so sorry I've been distant in the past. I've written tons of letters and they'd ended in the trash. Oh, my darling, how I miss you to the day. I'd give my everything to see your face again, my friend. You wanted, you my friend, you wanted. You wanted, you my friend, you wanted. We fooled around when we got to 22. I remember falling so in love with you. But your parents packed your bags and moved away. Your father got a job in the Empire State. Oh, how I wish you stood your ground and stayed behind. I've loved and I've lost, but you made me feel alive. I guess you got a job, a life, and a family. But I promise my heart will always have a place for thee. Oh, I could be a saint while you would be the sinner. My mother used to frown when I'd invite you home for dinner. Oh, my darling, how I miss you to the day. I'd give my everything to see your face again. Oh, I'm so sorry I've been distant in the past. I've written tons of letters and they'd ended in the trash. Oh, my darling, how I miss you to the day. I'd give my everything to see your face again, my friend.
Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Alright, so I made a little bit of progress on this thing, although, probably want, I still feel like I want a close button on this. Or possibly down here, so it's kind of the same position. Or maybe this should actually stay anchored to the corner regardless of, well, then it might not be a leaflet control. Anyway, I modified this back to simulating real-time mode just for my own use. I really want to get to the point where I can do that as a main feature. I also tweaked the color of the filter a little bit more. So I switched the config back. Just gonna keep on using that. Transition time. Oops. Alright, I think we keep. Tweak filter icon style. And we reset the rest. Go back into debugging mode. Oh, we still got a stray init. Was that in? Okay, so that was tracking that. Now, they said, well, we'd have to keep our container if we would turn events off. So I don't know if this tracks which object, or it knows that if we remove it, we need to unbind events. Did I have anything in here? Not... Yeah, this is when we actually do stuff with it. Not yet. Okay, so we want this to do you. Actually, I need something to rethink how I reuse this layer. And we're going to have, well, this, I'm debating whether this needs to be a separate layer or if there's just like a data layer. Well, if I'm going to have a data layer, then I need to have like a separate tab or something over here. Because I think like a life finder mode is a little bit different than a data filtering mode, but I don't like want to have like one icon per necessarily. Because this list of people takes up some space here. So we might... Since we're working on this, I want to have this be on by default for now. Seems like it affected this a little bit. So there's sidebar open, and then within that there is two different modes for which tab is selected. I don't think those should I wonder if those should be the same enum. We've got closed search filter, closed search data. We should probably remember the layer when it's closed. So those should be separate. So what are you? That's going to make a bunch of stuff broken, but I think we're probably going to want to go ahead and be defining well, view is actually a bad term. Equals well, we already got search. Equals life search or data filter. Now I think view dot is probably fine for that. Sidebar open. Let's just review sidebar mode. So that might compile. Okay. Alright, so right now we've got a view. We've got that. We've got sidebar, sidebar. Column. So these attributes are going to be kind of shared. I wonder if can we make that an L? And this a column with not necessarily very many of those attributes. Actually, you take a single element, or I need to define that. That does not appear to benefit. Okay, we get the align top, we get the ID. Okay, we've got to do that to fill out again, which... So do you get stretched by your container? No, you do not. So we've got to duplicate this. Although, since the parent has a maximum, we might be able to do that. Okay. So now we can show loading, show error. Show loading, show error. Show result. Well, it's another remote thing. But these aren't specific to that. Life detail. And date is all part of that, kinda. Actually, I'm starting to wonder if I should have a sub-page for this. I mean, the way that would kind of have a domino effect on some other data structure abstractions and things. Alright, so if we have a life search that does all of that stuff. And was it a data filter? Now, you don't really have a defined content yet. And we need to figure out how we're going to switch between these. I guess we could do something like you, where we have two icons and... Yeah, this is really sidebar. I'd have a good sidebar icon. Alright, life search. So you are going to be one of two sidebar contents. Okay, apparently we still need parentheses. And if we display the other one, it would be actually nothing right now. But we need... So actually, this does go back to like a column or... Probably column. Because we need to have something... This we think will be a row. Wrong way. Well, you're really only going to be a width fill. And you're going to have two boxes which are icons? Well, I could do icon and name for now. I really need a better name for the sort of data display. Okay, and you are not spreading out the way I want. I guess these have to be individual fills. And individually centered. Right, so it's actually the contents that need to be centered within you. Okay. And we would really like, yep, L center X icon. So this would be something like a sort of tab header. And we may in fact need some sort of message identifier in a bit. Icon name. Tab header. We don't have a search icon yet. Icon filter. Okay. Why are you upset? Oh, because we have a thing called icon. Alright, so that should be largely the same. Sriracha. And I mean, we're probably going to have that, we just don't have the icon yet. Alright, so that means you're going to have to be a row. Hmm. Hmm. No, I don't think I can do relative font sizes here. Actually, sizing is a whole issue that we need to address. It's still kind of haphazard. So that's probably... Okay, so map is a font size 12. So we're kind of just need to set something. What do we think our default is? Because it doesn't look too bad. Font size 20. Okay, so I got overridden by something else. So you probably just need to be like 18 or something. Yep, that update. Okay, getting there. And maybe a little bit of spacing. Alright, so we need to know which one is currently selected. So, which is going to really blow out this argument list here. Unfortunately, we're going to want the mode anyway. And we have to have the current mode. To eventually send some sort of message about this. This would be... So we need something to set that off from the stuff below it. Now with only 2 items, it is very hard to establish. Just based on like light or dark, which is the highlighting color. So I might need to do like some sort of border. Okay, so you can do a border on everything, or you can do a border on specific sizes, sides. So that would be the mode select. Something we have not used. Bottom. And then we have to go left, right, left, right, left, right. Now, do we have a sensible color there? I don't know. Oh, we add to update you guys as live search model dot sidebar mode. Okay, so we've got, you see, yeah, that could be a much more subtle color. I just need something to separate that. Well, maybe a little bit of space. And having one of them highlighted. Now, okay, so yeah, it needs to be RGB, RGBA, from RGB to RGB. These are our options. Actually, did I? Okay, I did not condense colors. Oh no, actually the color of the other icon got set in Leaflet Land. Not sure I like how that combines with this line. But it's something. Now, a tab header has an L and a row. A row is just combining those two things. You are the thing that fills. So you are the thing we're going to want to color. Background.color is a case. Is an if mode equals current. Well, it's like I want to be the same color, I think, as the background if it's not selected. Oh, we do have a... And we do have a highlight. Okay, so we did have some colors. So we should probably do like... Alright, and we haven't done anything to make these interactive yet. So there's an on-click event. There is button. And there is link. A link is a link, so unless I implement this in the URL bar and go through that, then that's not so great. So possibly, well, a button has a label. Which I think this entire thing is the button, and then this is the label because it has to fill. So we've got an on press. Which could be nothing. So this has to be a thing that, well, it could be nothing for now. And label is all of this. Okay, so the button needs to have width fill again. But that indicates this entire thing is a clickable thing. I almost wonder if I should have that stuff down here because this is down here. So you go boop boop. Alright, search, typing, select masking line, select lineage. So I've already got a thing called mode. Which your update now has to handle. Let's see, view. I guess view is actually near the top. Select lineage. Oh. I guess since I've got the other thing as select mode, or select lineage. Model. I don't think we do any changes. Model with sidebar mode set equal to mode. And we don't have a display for this yet. All right. Wait, did I? No, I did not. I got... Yeah, I didn't get anything in advance. Still the attribution stuff to do. So I still don't have a good thing for sidebar. I still don't have a good thing. I'm not super crazy about this for data. But I also don't see anything in here that's better, and it's just a lot easier to only deal with a limited set. So I don't spend hours looking through things. Is there really no search icon? I'm probably just missing it. That would seem like one of your pretty basic ones. And I thought I even looked at it before. I was like, no, not quite. Oh, yep. Alright, so just immediately replace that. Alright, I don't think I need the zip anymore. Now, out of that, we really just need icon search, which they are placing before icon tree. Did I pass that in already? I did. Now, I guess if we wanted to be really fancy, well, this is living in leaflet land, so changing the icon depending on this would be... Oh, more work I want to do it than I want to do right now. Alright, so all of that stuff changed. Alright, so now you, what the heck do we want to do with you? We want to be able to select a server to, well, server and time period would just help a bit. Because that's kind, and I might eventually want to be able to throw the lineage over to this view. Alright, so view, we have a life search, which will be a little bit, oh no, we've already got data filter. So server select, we have... we got monuments. We do have a list servers. We could probably get away with a maybe here. Since no selected server is what we're going to interpret as all. Don't send that parameter. Okay, so that's for that. We might end up doing something with that later. I guess there's no reason not to use the entire server. All right, so our view, we're going to have a server select. I don't know if I need the entire model. We probably just need model.servers and is it selected server? Because then we could actually type this as remote data All right, so do we have a drop-down box in input? As a quick and dirty way to get a thing in here. There's specifically a search box. Well, I think we didn't use their text box because, yeah, That's interesting. Multi-line text. Uh-oh. So we've got radios. We've got an entire slider. We've got checkboxes. So I need to actually have a sort of sub. So, so that would be like a sub-openable thing with radio buttons then? We need to have a none option, but for starters, oh, and we can't really display anything here. Not requested. There probably should be a placeloader here. I had a show loading helper. Uh, This might be one of the cases where we want to go list. List.map. From a server, actually, I can do the cheap version there. And then into a row with properties. All right, where are we getting this from? Show error. Server select. Oh, you only do HTTP. Well, that should be an HTTP error, right? Oh. It's remote data, so it should always be, well, I guess there could be other kinds of net protocols. So a list server. Oh, that's right. That is my internal name, or protocol name. And we forgot to map you to a text element temporarily. Oop. Oh, I wanted column. And for what we're doing right now, this is sidebar mode. I might want to chop these down for display. All right. Server display name. All right, server, or really, we could even just go that for our current implementation. So we want server name, and we're going to get into some string manipulation stuff. Split, slice, and that would kind of work. That has its own definition of white space. So it's not really correct just to do that. So the general way to do that, well, without getting into parsers, is server name string dot split dot. Oh, are you? Yes, you are a string. That gives us a list. That gives us a maybe. Actually, our default should probably be our full server name. If that somehow failed. Dispelly. Maybe dot with default. Alright, so a server display name. We need, So we've got a list. We need, oh, if we want to be able to say we select this, we have to keep the entire server. So I mean, we'll still need this somewhere downstream. And I do, isn't there, yeah. So right now, it's just text. And hey, how about we call that? Yes. All right, so we want to do something more complicated with this. So an individual item is going to be a column that consists of one piece that. No, it's going to be radios, right? I mean, I guess yeah, slider is almost, but not quite, did good control. I mean, it'd be great to have that kind of quick select, but radio. Oh, so radio is implicitly options. Wait. Okay, so input.option blah. So we can have no thing selected, but generally radio does not allow you to default back to that. So I still have to have a maybe. So this actually, well, Input dot option. Input O. Input dot styled choice, which is probably reused. With checkbox. This appears to be an old example from a previous version of the library. There's an option state, which looks... Yeah, it looks like it might be option with. So we're not actually mapping you to like a whole radio... well, I mean, we sort of are. Oh, actually, this would have been a row. Anyway. So you go to... Well, you want a message. Oh, but you... Okay, so that needs that. That's the thing that takes that. Alright, so we can't baby step into this. The option is going to be, and actually this probably has to be a maybe here, so we can eventually do an item that's... maybe we pass you and we have a separate item for that. Change where we put things in. We bumped caps lock. But now it does not go into there. It goes into a radio. Now I presume that this thing has to be able to take an argument. Yeah, I'm making like a little X button for the selection instead of a nothing item. Label... Oh, and we have to have this option. It's in the type signature. Yes, it is. Map UI. So we've got a selected server. We need a select server. And we didn't terminate something. Option call produces type annotations that produces. Oh. Ow. Oh, right, because you're just a no, you're an actual node. The first, okay, so you can have attributes apparently. Oh, and we're not doing anything, selected nothing, but now we actually do have model selected server. Oop. Did I? Oh, but no, I passed the value in though. Input label message, maybe server message, maybe server. Right, because nothing collapsed that down. So if I do the external not selected, or select none, actually this probably is still a maybe here. No. Radio needs the second argument to be maybe. Well, selected has to be a maybe, because it can be nothing. Right. Maybe option. Unchange. List.map server item. Server message. Radio needs the second argument to be maybe. So input.option is supposed to take a thing. It is definitely selected when that happens. Radio needs the second argument to be. that cause problems elsewhere. Right. So that will not. That would have to be a specifically unselect server option. Because it will only send a message when there's a thing selected. So I need some way to open this and to close it. Yeah, now you see, this is what I was talking about earlier with the color ambiguity. This could be considered like a faded out, even though this is the background color. Maybe I could also do something with font weight. Anyway, the radio button itself was a little bit of a trial. Could probably still use some more styling. Alright, so they actually had some of this in the example. Padding 10, spacing 20. Okay, I think it's the padding that's okay there. Spacing is too much. Maybe a little bit. Yep, padding. Padding. Paddington. So for this thing, we're actually going to have, this might be a little bit more than a maybe. This thing will be like, well, for the UI purposes, there's an open closed state. So we want some sort of none option. Oh, actually, well, there are still cases. I mean, I guess this could potentially be filtered by that, but are there cases where you want to display data for all servers? Well, the radio is still, well, it's a maybe, but you could pick one. They only do it when we have servers. Oh. And I might actually want to do this. I mean, you could probably, like, compress these down to icons somehow. Make it a little bit more compact. At which point it would start to be more reasonable to display it at all times. Because it could fit into like 2 rows, maybe. So I might be tending towards having more of a custom server data structure to represent that. All right, well, I need something to get things going here. So now so the way it works for our default view is we have the most recent X amount of time. A specific date range is probably a useful thing, although I don't know if I support that like at all on the back end at this point. Which it might be something we have to add. Epoch clarity lineage query. Yeah, it's only right now all we support is the most recent. So that's actually going to be a data server change. UI wise, it's like we could do most recent, or we could do a date range. Just going to have specific start and end. Which means we have to have a way to switch between those two modes. Well, if I've gotten the data, I know what the most recent date is. Well, until we get other filtering conditions, we're not going to be able to really support things much larger than the default time range. You can't really do a data query for everything unless we get some compression options. So the controls might have to limit us anyway, but being able to pick the start or end period. Now, right now, period is only backwards. Which might not be super intuitive. What are we going to do with you? Well, let's see what we've got for date. There's probably going to be a date somewhere. Now, you don't give me a date control, do you? No, which means we want to specify a browser date control, which I think gives us some stuff. We're going to have to drop down to HTML. So until we get the server collapsing, we're actually going to want to have this be the farther down one. I need to have like a max date known thing. Well, I mean, I guess, oh, if I did a recent limit 1, I don't know if that's going to be pretty server-wise. Here, 5,000. Well, yeah, just no filter, most recent. That should be the most recent, I think. And it's still going to have to wake up the server every time. I could run that through the cache layer eventually. But I can't even get a timestamp in Elm for current time without doing some stuff. So you might have no arguments for a little while. Okay. So right now this is going to be end date. And it can't be a text box because we want to be able to specify a type of text box. On change text placeholder label. And it's going to be lots of text. Search box. Oh, I do have a typing thing. Do I just ignore that? Okay, we update the internal model, but this time I really can't do that. Because you don't actually, well, maybe, depending on how it generates this, which we could look at this one. Depending on how it generates it, if it puts attributes, and we've got this HTML attribute on the input box, we could do HTML attribute date, but it might try to override that. HTML attribute, is it type? Was it, yep, type underscore. Label above. This would be more of a label left. All right, we did not provide a term. Well, we do get a nice little browser select. And this doesn't have a time. Which might actually be important for certain applications. Oh, had you recompiled? Okay, that's not even recognized. So we would have to get fancy there. Also, I'm not sure why it's so fat. Maybe they're concerned that certain dates would get too big, or maybe that's just a text size issue. Is it cramped? No. Well, it does seem to be something with the date type. Did I not? Input, type equals date. Why are you so fat? You appear to take up all the space you can get. All right, so date select. We might have to do like a row or column or something with you. So we have our date thing. I like having some basic checks in place. I like that there is a usually pretty straightforward way to do things. The language itself isn't too complicated, so you can kind of get comfortable with your basic tools, and then you're thinking more in terms of problems, and there's always a very set ways you can deal with that. Some things frustrate me a lot. Lack of composition between libraries, and the fact that it's very, you can't really extend most libraries can be frustrating. Like I've been playing around with the LMUI package, which a lot of times works out pretty nice. But then they have a very specific limited number of input types, and if you don't like that, too bad. Go back to HTML. Now I have been able to put an HTML attribute in here, which has been okay, and I was able to put an different change model on there. So that's worked out okay, but other times I've had to like go completely HTML to deal with something. So I mean, it's still got the escape hatches. But yeah, sometimes things are doing it in their model feels very verbose. And I mean, there's generally reasons for that, but it can still feel really verbose. Particularly when you get to updates and you have to deal with sending it and receiving it, and then sometimes there are some things that kind of require multiple steps through that loop. Like I was trying to figure out how to delay sending a message, and I finally just gave up and delayed the action on receiving it in JavaScript. Because it was a port communication thing. But it's not made me go looking for another front-end thing yet. Alright, so that doesn't, at this font size, it doesn't really have space for another thing. So our date select, I still don't know why that's so fat. Something about the Firefox date controls, I guess? So in order to fill this in, we'll need to fetch my last regular date. Now, and this is only date. Actually, no, yeah, we have a date and a time. That's our end. Which I kind of would consider making my own date control a rather large tangent. Date range picker. There's an examples folder. Okay, so this is only a date picker. Range. Well, these are called date time pickers. Double date time picker. What? Oh, I actually clicked through that, didn't I? Okay, so the first package is Elm Date Picker. So that would be this one? Yeah. This is a count example. Okay, so all of these links appear to be dead. Oh, yet they're all linking to new. What the heck? Yeah, that's an oopsie. Maybe he meant to put that in later. Okay, so this is not the example app. This is the repository. So we don't know what it looks like. Okay, so this is, once again, so far, so looks nice enough. Next month, previous month, get today, date selected. So this is date only again. We can get that pretty much from the browser. Now, picking a day might be enough. It's just that if you know a certain event is at a certain time. Oof. A lot of stuff. Okay, but once again, full calendar, 3 months. So I guess the date range picking is interesting. But if I do a date picker without the time, and then say period back, it's going to get different results than the default 48-hour view. So I would need to have a different option that is just most recent in order to be able to reproduce that. Which doesn't allow it to have both the well, you have to have some sort of like date selection that is most recent, and then we have to have some sort of selection for the period, which is going to be a bunch of custom control stuff. And looking at historical data will require a different approach. Alright, so the formats we were using were some variation. One of the ISO, so this is date strings. From time to time decoder encoder. From time to time decoder encoder. Time, offset, year, month, day, minute, from string to string. Diff sub. Decode. Yeah, none of these deal with period values. So I'm going to need a different way. Well, it may be easier to do a... I could do a slider and just like make it always hours or something. Is that even valid? To say... if we're going over 24, well, we normally do 48. Period 2 days. What if we did 48 hours? Unknown pattern. Oh, no, actually, I think it has to be like T if you're going into hours. Okay, well, that definitely did something. Birth time greater than... Oh yeah, because my local server does not have the most recent data, so that might make sense. So if we did 24, we would expect a 7.3. Okay, so that's kind of working. So we could just do like a slider for hours, since we're not gonna, it's not gonna make sense to do very well. On smaller servers, maybe you could do longer periods. But that gets us something going. And then end date is going to have a most recent option. All right, so we've got that. But this is going to have a some kind of not set. Well, it's kind of blank not set. if we had a nothing and defaulted it to there, because that's currently our default value. So this is actually just not supported right now on the server end, whereas the period is. And we don't have a field for it yet. So what if we just always did it in hours for UI purposes? Input.slider, we can't have attributes. On change, I don't have anything that's a flow. Hey, Lightning Lord. How's it going? I am trying to build out the UI for this thing, and date selects are hard. Wait, I thought I... Okay, I guess I haven't saved this yet. So that, well, I haven't really done anything with the server yet either. I kind of need at least 2 conditions to... Well, I mean, I guess this would technically allow me to change server. So if we took that value back to map UI and... Too many windows. All right, selected server. Nope, I am just a person who finds the constantly updating world interesting. The source is available, so I can mod it how I like. There's lots of data available, and I'm really fascinated by data. So, and I wanted to be able to look into the past. I eventually want to get this so I can actually like go in and see how this once looked. But that's, you know, biting an elephant one bite at a time and all that. All right, so if we change our, and I still don't have the, you know, I left out the select no server, so I haven't even done that yet. So we select server. So we're actually going to have a separate message for that because the radio button won't support it. Actually, do you send me repeat selection messages? Yes, you do. I'd probably still want a select none option. But we could say... No, that's kind of... Well, it'd be like it was a checkbox. I'd select only one checkbox. That might be kind of a weird UI. But this does let us... Well, selected server. So where do we... It's probably from here. Oh no, it would be a sidebar open or an overlay add. If it's search, that's monuments. Yeah, require recent lives. Model. All right, we left a hole here for server ID, which I guess we could default that. Model not selected. If we maybe map that over ID. And I probably actually need to have a way to actually select. A none there. And then all right, well, we can do that, and then we also need to do this if we change server. Uh-oh. Oh, and this has to be the updated model. But why are you actually upset now? Oh, because this returns the model. Because it was the entire thing we were doing there. Because it updates the model. So we just pass you to this. And then we'll eventually need to get that to actually turn on the data. That seems to have not worked. Oh, I need to have a, this tries to be smart. So actually, if we change server, well, the radio control should only send it if it's different. So you're pretty much always going to do this. And now we don't have to deal with the maybe because we've selected something. Yep. Okay, our zone's going to be a little bit different in every server. Okay, so in 48 hours... Oh, nope, server 2's out here. Server 3 is over there. Server 5 has been quite quiet. Yeah, so we might want to allow, I guess really just, maybe it just comes down to record limit rather than period limit. Allow longer terms for those. I had 2 little camps going there. I think Wolven Scar's been playing a bunch on this. Server 12 used to be a big thing. What's Server 12? And there's not going to be anything on Big Server 1 until we get our can adjust dates back to, well, interestingly enough, am I doing my date check? For the search period or just in general? Yeah, that's lives, not filtered lives. So I should probably consider at least the server value there, because then it would actually make sense to do a big server one for a most recent value. So if we change this, and I'm probably going to need a search button to avoid hitting it as much. But we would want to, do I have a general link thing for that yet? Set view server list, display results, search overlay, new. No, because it's sending data layer. The problem here is that we don't know at this point whether it is data or animated. However, I need to refill my water. I'm going to be back in a few minutes. And more logic gates. Clay Entertainment. Hi! You know, I saw the art stream going on and not.
Has been cleared out. Oh, hey, where'd this hatch come from? What up, buddy? How's it going? You eating some of these resources and turning them into coal? You are. You are so ugly. Not ugly cute, just ugly. But that's okay. A
little bit here.
Oh, God. At least we can keep this and this powered overnight now.
We have a power shortage.
Well, you know, I wish we could anyways.
You'll never take us alive! Unknown research?
Okay,
More research? More research? A lot of research over here. Good stuffs.
What, now you're giving me peanut butter and bread? Thanks. Uh, thanks, Mom. Okay. Uh, my mom brought me like so much food.
Welcome back. I can handle this. Set data layers. So that should probably stay an independent thing. Although we do have the redraw calls in here. So we have anim overlay and point overlay. How do we know if they're currently on? It's a layer control. Add, remove. How about the map? Well, the leaflet control that shows layers can tell if something is on or not. So when it starts up, so it adds things to itself. Does that. Base layer, add overlay. Init layout. How does it figure out the initial state? Sort layers, update. Overlays present, object.overlays. Uh-oh. Twitch being twitchy? Well, okay, so that was a pause for me. Layers. What the heck is layers? This dot layers. This dot add item. Okay, so that's just getting a count. On layer change. Create radio element. Name checked. Add item. checked. On input clicked, check disabled layers. Layer options, min zoom. That's for auto disable if it's out of zoom. How do you know? Because if we add a layer, it knows it's there. It knows whether it's in the map. Oh, has layer. How do we? Methods of, oh, map must be a layer group. Okay, there we go. Set data layers. If not map.hasLayer point overlay and not map.hasLayer anim overlay. Point layer dot, I guess since we're doing map stuff, map dot add add layer Okay, so you're down here. Okay, so that takes care of that a bit. I don't know if I always want that doing an immediate search. Or a update on change. So I had a date control there, which hadn't really gotten very far. Well, the period is probably even less interesting than the date. So I have to have a way to not have a date set. So it's just most recent. And then how would you want to search that? And what we've got right now is date end. Well, that would be the easiest thing to do with my existing period setup. But we might want to support a period plus. Or a date plus period. So that would be a start date, that would be an end date. You could do a date range. All of that requires server changes. Would there ever be, well, I guess during some of the big bursts, time could be an issue. But dates would get us there. So I'm gonna have to figure out why the thing is double high. We're going to need actual fields. So I could do this as a kind of most recent date rate or date range thing. Oh, and then there's the question of date range in what time zone. So right now this is unset to anything, which having that be unset is probably fine. But we have to be able to support putting this somewhere. So selected server, search term. We're going to have some kind of data limit. Which is why just start date, end date makes me a little bit nervous. So so the date field's going to give me a string. Realistically. That gets interpreted as a date. And maybe we have to convert that back for server purposes. So these might end up having multiple things for these. One for the control and one for internal use. Oh, and are you maybes? Search term. Okay, so that will at least compile. Then view. Typing actually expects to be a thing. So this pretty much has to be that would make message of a type A, so oh, I do have to update the internal value though. And you didn't have a value, which is... maybe with default. And we added a new message. Don't appear to have updated the call. Right. Map UI. Why do I keep saying make to start? Might be more of a, might make more sense to have. What? What? So I need to figure out, well, I copied my other thing. Oh, have I been setting my search term? Doesn't look like it. So I wonder if that is an on change. What the heck is my search box then? It's going to put that text to me. Oh, am I typing txt? Target value. Okay, so you actually did some stuff. We can start by this just to get it to update. Oops. Okay. Makes me dislike the basic input box even more. So we probably have to have some sort of search button, which means we're gonna have to make this whole thing scrolling and the problems. All right, so now why, oh why? Are you double height? Block size? Not heard of that one. It doesn't seem to be text size. Can we just put style on this? Oh, you have to be like... Yeah. Okay, so it might need to be a little bit different. This kind of goes back to the whole sizing problem thing. So that's actually somewhat reasonable. And this could all be lined up better. Maybe... Well, I guess if it ends up being a 2x2, it's end date and start date. But because of the different heights, it would make more sense to label above and do those adjacent. All right, so right now this is just an input. Date select. I would need to specialize this. I would need to specialize that. I would need to specialize the value and the text. To have a like date select box thing. Well, that it kind of is a date select box. And these are things that are kind of annoying. So this is a... Are you a stringed message? And a string to message and a value and a label. So we have a typing message, we have a change message, we have a label, we have a value. A date range select is a gonna start end. You or want to be a row. With the date select, I guess I'm going to do both the same until I get around to making all the messages. A typing end date, a set end date. Yeah, it should really be start date though. Value. So that doesn't fit great. Well, it was like 3:30. Really, all that empty space? What the heck do you need that for? Yeah, there's no Shadow Dom here. I don't know if there's going to be any property I can touch for that. So with the number controls, there's a like little up-down thing. That makes sense. Min and max, the step attribute. Oh. Okay. WebKits. So they've allocated a bunch of space for that. So it's not good for. See, they're showing an Xbox. But I can't really do this in the space I got. Well, I could turn the font size down. So I think we're 20. Oh, that's going to affect the labels as well. And I guess I gotta resize the labels if I need to. So you see, yeah, that's already starting to go off. All right, so we got that. I probably need to have a way to unset those again, much as with servers. Map UI. Not that we actually do a whole lot with this yet. Well, we set it as a string. But if we don't keep the string, we're not going to be able to support a user actually changing values interactively. Which means I might need two values. A string value that we continue displaying and like an internal thing that we use when we make a query. Now we can't make a query yet. And we still got the default server number in there. All right, we updated our label, right? Right. Now I could send the textual string and interpret it on the server side, but I probably need to deal with or decide what time zone it's in here. So if we date.parse that, it will be probably in the local time zone. But what if you wanted UTC? Well, if you go into Enemo, you'll at least be able to see what range you got. And we still need a way to, well, I guess the default is the last 24 hours or 48 hours. probably need to better indicate what that is. Now, I guess I could do start date, end date, in different rows. Just seemed like a lot of space for it. So if we just take that as is, well, I guess if I try to convert it up front, I could at least be saying, did it convert to something valid? So you, So input-wise, that's roughly equivalent. You can also be not set. I don't think it matters much if you're maybe'd. All right, so you are going to be input, oops. Start. Oh. You're a string. Okay. Argument to application. So you don't think that is a valid model. Start date input, end date input. Maybe POSIX string. Now, because it's trying to use the model type here, it's actually not being very helpful in terms of what the heck is different. Oh, no, because the problem is that the view is getting different inferred types. I might eventually need to know if you're set to something. Alright, and then when these update, what do we do? That's going to be packaged. Does time even deal with strings? Probably not. So there's ISO strings. Internet message format. Date format. Format dates. POSIX to string. ISO 86810 date, which isn't necessarily what we're getting from a browser date control. Oof. And that's formatting. I might need to use a time picker just to get it in no format. Alright, so we've given up on doing time. So we've got date picker, which didn't seem to have an example. Yeah, Ellie app new. I guess it doesn't change the URL bar. It's, oh, we'll just copy paste the link, but it doesn't actually work that way. Well, wait a minute. Maybe this is an Elm DocSite thing? Yep, nope, this is in GitHub too. So we don't know what you look like. I mean, that's not bad. I don't know how it will fit in our little sidebar setup. Date picker message. So yeah, this is a whole little sub app. Well, this can do the string parsing. Are you perhaps using this thing to do that? Well, there's ISO strings. But of course, it's not an ISO string. Or are you expecting an ISO string? Okay, so we could do a date range thing, like a min-max select. All right, you... Wait, are you the same thing? Curry software. Oh. So these are like two forks of some original project. So that's called 3 on October. This is called 4 in January. Wait, did I go back one? Oh, that's the date package. Oh wait, you're just in the general Elm date picker. No, I don't see an example here. And these are all pointing at new. Oh, but you do have a time picker. If we wanted to do that. Which, given the volume of the data, might, in some cases, be useful. Alright, so we have to see date picker, oh, date range picker, but it's not a date time range picker. Model message. Date range selected. Put the date range. So one problem is that these don't support the unset state. So I would have to just have this thing kind of not exist in that instance. So we got something here. Something we might end up... Well, we're not able to send it yet. The server still has to support it. Might need to checkpoint that, just so we have something to work from. I think I'm going to have to try this. But I do want to do some cooking for lunch today. So I don't want to go implementing a package this big right now. And yeah, it might not even work out that well. I have to go on to the next one. Man, UI's a pain in the butt. We still need the disselect, we still need to collapse. Deselect server, collapse server, try date pickers, and I still have to get, like, how do we do animation and all the stuff with that. So this is just select data, which I haven't got figured out yet. We can have that, or we can have the animated version, which might want to auto turn that on. So I probably want this to be like one data layer that has like an optional, like maybe time controls as a separate layer, which is really just kind of indirectly doing this. There might be like a dummy layer in there. Although it's going to affect the drawing of that layer because it kind of toggles the setup, so... deselect server, maybe we do a slightly more iconic version. Or we can just compact them all into like 2 rows. I kind of don't want to deal with it, but that might be better than expand collapse. Well, that's still going to turn into a radio button with hidden radios thing, which I don't know if you can do. Well, there's a custom display. I guess you'd hide the radio button in there. Okay, well, we still don't have anything shippable. That's the really frustrating thing about this. We're kind of able to do some updates. And like this interface has just been a bear. Well, thanks to everybody who hosted me. Looks like Makings of a Hero is just getting started. So if you're looking for some game development, oops. That's someplace cool to hang out. Yep.